What's going on, guys? It's Uzziah, your success strategist. Welcome to the Uzziah Show. I am your host, Uzziah, your success strategist. And y'all, I'm so excited because tonight we are going to talk about how to create generational wealth. If you want to know how to leave behind a legacy, then make sure that you tune into tonight's show because I'm going to walk you through the process on how to create assets to pass down for future generations step by step. Now, thank you so much for all of y'all that's in the house. Sorry about that a little bit earlier, y'all. I was on mute. Your boy was so fired up, he forgot to turn off the mute button. So give me a quick shout out, y'all. Let's give a quick shout out to the brother Rick Judah in the house. Shout out to Rick. Good to see you on as always, my brother. Ariel is in the house. Quick shout out to Ariel. Shebrew Naturals. I'm back in here. My sister Avia is in the house. My sister Ariel is in the house. Okay, I'm feeling good, y'all. I'm feeling good. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to create generational wealth. Now, if you like what this subject is about, then please make sure that you smash that thumbs up button. This will go a long way because it'll tell YouTube to send this broadcast out to more people. How many of you guys are interested in creating generational wealth? Just a quick question. Give me a 1 if so. If you're interested in creating generational wealth so that way you can have money and other resources to pass down to your kids, press 1, y'all. If y'all want to leave a legacy that will live on after you're gone, press 1. This is what tonight's broadcast is all about. I'm going to show you all the steps. I'm going to show you all 9 ways to be able to create your empire. And all you guys got to do is follow these steps one by one. And that'll make sure that you have everything that you need to be able to pass down real wealth to your kids. Now, one of the biggest myths that I want to debunk is that you have to make a lot of money in order to create generational wealth. That's a myth. We have access to so many resources today that'll make sure that after we're gone, we can leave behind an inheritance. The only way that you will not create generational wealth is if you don't try. Okay, if you don't make a concerted effort to just follow the steps that I'm going to show you guys tonight, then that'll be the only way you don't leave something behind. You know, all of us will leave behind bits of wealth in different pieces, hopefully. Okay, different people will have different levels of income and different levels of net worth to pass down. But the point is, when you guys walk away from tonight's broadcast, no matter how much or how little you make, You're going to have a step-by-step blueprint and roadmap on how to be able to keep your family secure. So let's hop into this, guys. If y'all love what tonight's show is about, if y'all want to see this show on air, please make sure that you donate. Okay, your donations is what keeps the show going. All I ask is that you guys give a super chat. You just tap the dollar icon directly below the live chat box, or you could send me Cash App or PayPal. The links are in the description below. What are the 9 steps to create generational wealth? First is optional, okay? The first step that I'm going to give you guys is an optional step. Not everybody creates generational wealth this way, but it is something that I recommend for most people. The first step is that you maximize your employment income just to fuel all of your income streams. Guys, you're not taking on work for work's sake. You're taking on work just to cash flow all of the other streams of income that you want to have. So let's say that you want to start a business where you're going to use your 9 to 5 employment income as seed money to start that business. You're not going to go into debt trying to find the money another way. Okay. There's no guarantee that you're going to get investor capital. You want to get started as soon as you can. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to start setting aside money every single month from your jobs to put towards creating new streams of income, whether that means you put the money into real estate, whether that means that you put the money into stock investing. I want you to focus on creating multiple streams of income, but just using your 9 to 5 job as a hub to fuel everything else until you start creating other streams of income that makes more money than your job. Now, let's be clear about this, guys. I don't want you to leave your 9 to 5 jobs prematurely. I know we talked about all of what's happening with the great resignation. Everybody's quitting their 9 to 5 jobs. Listen, y'all, don't get out of your job prematurely. If you get out of your job, but yet you don't have any solid way to replace your income, then you're going to slow down your wealth. You could sabotage your opportunity to create generational wealth from where you are today if you get out of a job with no safety net in place. What you want to focus on is constantly moving your way up. Life may not feel perfect right now. You may not be working at the dream job. You may not be, living in the dream home. But I always tell you, it comes in time. You want to focus on progress and not perfection. So right now, based upon your current stage of life, all you're going to do is take the money that you're getting from your 9 to 5 job, and instead of wasting it on crap like new phones and sneakers, you're going to put X amount of money towards starting a business, X amount of money towards investing. You're going to put X amount of money towards starting up new streams of income. This is just going to be the feeding source that funds everything else. Okay. So the second step that I need y'all to focus on is getting out of debt. Guys, I want to make this real simple for you. The sooner you can get out of debt, the faster you can spend the rest of your life building wealth. A lot of people tend to manage this at once. They try to spend X amount of money towards investments, and they try to spend X amount of money towards debt. If you're not careful, it's going to be hard for you to build wealth because you have so much money that's locked into paying off all of your debts that you don't have enough money to put towards building up your assets. I always tell you guys about how when I graduated from college, I owed more every month towards my student loans than I owed towards the cost of my rent. I'm talking about my minimum payments. When I graduated from college, rent at the time must have been like $750, but the minimum payments on my student loans were $1,000 a month. Now, I started to ask myself, well, if I didn't have to put $1,000 towards those student loans and I had that paid off, how could I put this money in a better place? How could I put $1,000 a month towards investing? And that's exactly how I was able to invest in my first real estate property by 26. I was able to have enough money to make a 20% down payment on my investment property, all because the exact same amount of money that I was putting every month towards my debt, all I was doing was taking that exact same money and putting it towards investing. So if you want to create generational wealth, you need to get out of debt as quickly as you can. Now, I'm going to offer up one caveat for you guys because I know that some of y'all tune in and you say, well, Uzziah, what about good debt versus bad debt? See, if you're taking out debt towards building an asset that's going to put money in your pocket, then that's understandable. But a lot of you guys have debts around things that's not putting money into your pocket at all. A lot of us got our debts locked up in things like credit cards, car notes, payday loans, money that we owe to friends and family. We've got all of our money going in all these different places, but we're not getting any return on our investments. Let me check these comments. Let me see if I'm getting any love yet with the super chats. All right. Make sure that y'all smash the like button on your way in. Make sure that y'all leave me a comment, okay? I want y'all to dialogue with me on tonight's broadcast. Here's a question. Why do you want to create generational wealth? You know, are you just trying to create generational wealth just so that you could say that you have a lot of money in the bank account? Or do you have something else that drives you? Is it because you want your family to have a better way of life? Is it because you want your kids to experience a better childhood than what you had growing up? What is your motivator on why you want to create generational wealth? I really want to find that out from you guys because I think that if we can tap into your why on why you want to create this wealth, that will help you make more money over time. That will actually inspire you to create the wealth that you want. Okay. So when we talk about this generational wealth thing, right? The simplest way for you to think about it is if you don't owe anybody else any money, then all you can do with the rest of your money is focus on stacking it up. So when we talk about getting out of debt, it's not just, to ruin your fund, it's actually to maximize the window of time that you have. Because the sooner that you can get your way out of debt, the more time you have towards building wealth. I keep telling you guys, I became debt free at 23 years old. That meant that I was able to change my family tree the moment I became a man. 23 years old, man, you're still a kid. You're still very, very, very young. You might think that you're doing something because you're getting out of college and you're starting to work a job as an adult. But looking back at it, guys, you got the entire world in front of you. And a lot of times where people get slipped up is they say to themselves, but I want to live now. I want to party hard now. I want to travel now. I want to enjoy life right now because tomorrow's not promised. That's true. However, you constantly spending everything today will ensure that you have a stressful tomorrow. The more sacrifices that you make today, the better off your long-term future will be. And it's not just about you. It's about your kids. And it's about your kids' kids, right? Y'all know we always bring the Most High into everything that we do. The scriptures talk about how a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And so one of the things that's important when we talk about creating generational wealth is not giving your children a lot of debt to inherit. Okay. Now, a lot of y'all underestimate this because some of you guys just haven't been through certain situations before. I've had parents pass away. And when my father passed away, all of his bill collectors now started calling me. They now started calling me saying, hey, you owe this much, you owe that much, you owe that much. And I'm having to fight with all these companies left and right to say, this man is no longer living. And this ain't coming in under my name. So what you got to think about, guys, is when you pass away, right? You want to make the transition of the grieving process as easy as possible. You're only going to make things more stressful if your family is mourning your loss and they're stressed out because of all of the debt that you left them. The cleaner that you can make your finances, the easier you can make their process, right? When you pass away, you want your family to be able to look back and say, wow, you know what? Not only was this such a great person while they were living, they actually set it up so that way our lives could be better managed, more manageable after they were gone. You have the power to do that right now. I want you to understand this right now, y'all, that by the time that you're gone, you will either have helped future generations get ahead with the things that you did, or you actually slowed it down so that way they would suffer. A lot of us come from backgrounds where we felt like, man, our parents made certain decisions to where now we're paying for it. Maybe you got a wrong upbringing where you were exposed to the wrong things. And because you were exposed to negative things, that actually made it harder for you to be able to get past certain challenges in order to be competitive as an adult. Look at the types of people that y'all are out here competing with. Y'all are out here competing with people in your age that come from money. You're competing with people that come from two-parent households who have invested in things like stocks, real estate, investment accounts, leaving behind trust funds and living wills and testaments. So if you start and end with nothing, how do you think your child is going to compare to them? If you want to make sure that your child is competitive in this world, you have to equip them with all of the knowledge and the resources necessary for them to get ahead. Let me look at these comments real quick. Let me see where y'all are at. Let's give a big round of applause to my brother Yasha Allah. Thank you so much, my brother Yasha Allah. Thank you so much for getting this thing going, man. Really appreciate that $20 super chat, King. Thank you so much for getting us going. You see that? Really appreciate y'all support, man. So for all of y'all that are out there that enjoy this platform, please donate, y'all, because your donations is what keeps this channel going. If you're just now joining, tonight we're talking about how to create generational wealth. The first thing that you need to know about your generational wealth is that all of us have an opportunity to create it. I don't care if you went to college or you didn't. I don't care if you can only read at a 5th grade level. I want you to understand that if you can watch this broadcast right now, you can understand how to leave something behind to build your legacy. You do not have to be rich in order to leave an inheritance. When you follow these steps that I'm walking you through, you're going to be able to do it. The first step that I recommend for most of you guys, okay, this is something that I did myself. You work in the 9 to 5 for a certain period of time. It doesn't need to be forever. But as you're working at that 9 to 5 job, you're maximizing your income so that you can use that money to invest in all of the income streams that will support you. Okay. The average millionaire has 7 different streams of income, but all of these different income sources requires money to get started. So if you're going to have real estate investment, like I do, for example, you may need to have a little bit of money to put towards real estate. If you want to get started with a business, you need to be able to have a little bit of money in order to get started with some investment capital. Guys, instead of taking your money and spending it on BS, put the money from your job into start setting up new income streams. And don't quit your job before you've actually put the money towards something that can out earn your 9 to 5 income. If you are working at a job right now and you make $80,000 a year, don't quit that job if all your business is bringing in is $100 a month. Keep putting the money from your 9 to 5 job into your business. So that way you can have enough money to pay for supplies, equipment, staff, all the things that you need in order to create a 6-figure income through your business. I want to remind you guys of something also. All of you aspiring business owners, just because you make 6 figures a year in your business does not mean that you get to pocket 6 figures a year in terms of income. This is where a lot of people suffer. A lot of people think, okay, well, you know what? As long as I'm making a certain amount of money from the business, I'll walk away with that and that can feed my family. But you still have to pay taxes. You still have to pay operating expenses. You still have to have money to reinvest back into the business. The last person to eat from your business is you. And a lot of people never tell you that because they only want to sell you on the sexy sides of business. A lot of y'all don't understand that whenever y'all are donating into this platform, I got to pay everybody else that can put me in position to help to keep the show going. I got to pay my staff. I got to pay the companies that I use to stream this broadcast through. Got to give YouTube a cut of the money. So you got to think about, you don't want to jump out of your 9 to 5 job too fast, because when you do that, you are actually cutting off the generational wealth that you can create. Stay in the 9 to 5 long enough to put money towards something else that'll make more money than that. Whether it's business, whether it's real estate, whether it's investing in the markets, find something to be able to feed a new machine. And then when that new machine can feed itself and run on its own, then that's when you're in a good position to transfer out. But until then, just use that as seed money to start feeding everything else. Remember, number 2, get out of debt ASAP, because the faster you can get out of debt, the sooner you can spend the rest of your life building wealth. Okay. The third thing that don't let me get ahead of myself, y'all. Don't let me get ahead of myself. And please, y'all, for those of y'all that are on, make sure that you smash that like button. Make sure that you donate. Let's keep this thing going. Okay. One of the things that you need to understand when it comes to getting out of debt to build wealth is that there's levels to this. So what I want you to think about is you need to get down the first level of being able to sustain yourself for a lifetime. Okay, I want you to really follow me. What I mean when I say you need to first get on a level where you can sustain yourself for a lifetime is when you get out of debt and start building wealth, you'll start making enough money from wealth creation to where you have enough to be able to cover yourself for your life. Okay, so for example, if I were to sell one of my real estate investment properties, I could hold on to that money for a considerable amount of time without having to work. I could live off of that money from month to month to support me and my family. I'm not going to do that because I'm still focusing on building up my own wealth empire. However, I'm just trying to show you guys the possibilities, okay? The first level, right, which I'm telling you guys about right now, is making sure that you get out of debt So that way you can start putting your money towards enough assets that will sustain you and your family for the rest of your lifetime. The next level is having enough wealth to be able to last for another lifetime. Okay, the average wealthy family is only able to retain their money for about 3 to 4 generations at best. Most of us right now don't have enough money to support ourselves for 1 month. So make sure that you get out of debt, because the less that you owe anybody anything, the more that you can have in your own accounts, okay, for your own household. Make sure that you satisfy level 1, and then over time, you will get to level 2. The next thing that I want to talk about, which is step 3, is you need to own large, long term assets. The key to generational wealth is owning large, long term assets. Okay. So one person can own real estate, another person can own $5 in Bitcoin. $5 in Bitcoin right now wouldn't be considered a large long-term asset. Maybe if you had $5 in Bitcoin when Bitcoin first started, that could be a large long-term asset. But I want you to understand you need to be able to have an asset that is strong enough to where if you passed it down to another generation, they would already have so much wealth to their name. Okay, get what I'm going on this. If y'all pray for me, y'all. If I successfully have my next real estate investment go through, I can pass down my real estate investments to my children, and they will already be millionaires without having to work for $5. And you got to think about that when it comes to, are you putting yourself in a position to create large assets? You have to have large assets. One of the best ways to create large assets is to invest in real estate, right? Because when you get the property itself will be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending upon what you're investing in. You can build up equity. You can also generate cash flow depending upon if you're renting different property out. Okay. There's been so many people that have become millionaires through real estate. And so, what you need to have in order to create generational wealth is you need to own large, long term assets. The reason why I keep stressing long term assets is because when you have certain kinds of investments, it's already designed to last for a long period of time. What I'm striving to do in my life right now is to not only own the assets, but to be able to pay off any debts backed behind the assets during my lifetime. So that way, in future generations, I can just hand it down. So when it comes to my real estate investment property here in Austin, I want to be able to have that just passed down. Okay. I only need to pay but so much more on it. I have a lot more in equity towards the property than I have on debt. Okay. So when you pass away, you want to be able to make it as clean as possible to say, hey, I'm just handing this over to you. All you have to do is maintain it. I don't, if possible, Lord willing, I want to be able to have it set up to where my son doesn't need to worry about paying anything on the mortgage of my investment properties. All you need to do is make sure that you pay the property taxes. And even if that's structured the right way, that can automatically be funded through an account from where the tenants pay into it. So we'll have properties where we rent it out to tenants. The tenants will make payments every month. This can all be automated. Monthly withdrawals can be made from the tenant to pay for their rental property, and then that a proceed of that money will automatically go into the property taxes to make sure that this property is owned by the family from year to year. That's what you want to do when you start creating generational wealth. You it takes a bit of um long-term thinking, and it takes a little bit of selflessness in order to create generational wealth, because I'll tell you guys, when I went down this path of generational wealth, I understood that a lot of the benefits that could come from the decisions I make might not be realized in my lifetime. I came to the realization that me, a young black man from South Central Los Angeles, uh, I would need to set the stage for the next generation to be able to come from a better background and to be able to have better access to better opportunities than what was afforded to me. Okay. And so I think that that's something that we all should really commit to if we want better for our families, if we want better for our communities going forward. Have enough love for your future offspring to say, you know what, even if I have to make certain sacrifices in my lifetime for somebody else to really win, then that's what I'm willing to do. And that's the same thing that you see from some of the wealthiest people in the world. John D. Rockefeller put his entire family on. They're still spending money from the time that John D. Rockefeller was alive. That money is passed down from generation to generation. You look at certain families, DuPont, Bush, Clinton, all these different families that y'all hear about. How do you think they're always able to continue to thrive? Is because they've positioned themselves for generational wealth, that even if their kids are not as successful as them, all they have to do is maintain the wealth that's already created. Okay. And there's different structures that you can have in order to do it. Now, let's look at what Yasha Allah said. Yasha Allah said, at 23, I was jumping out of helicopters. Yeah, man. Yasha Allah was living that life. So I want y'all to recognize that if you just simply take the right steps right now, you can set your family on the right path for the future. And it doesn't take a world of money, guys. All it takes is you doing the best you can with what you have today. And the compound effect of that over time will be generational wealth. I'm just giving you guys my story because I'm trying to show you how this happens in real life. Even if I were to pass away today, God forbid, I still am able to hand over beyond $1 million in assets coming through my life insurance as well as my real estate portfolio. Not even talking about business, not even talking about cryptocurrency, not even talking about stocks. These are all things, guys, that you can do. Okay. When I was 19 years old, I was homeless. So I know that if I can do it, you can do it. Okay. Let's keep going into these steps. Okay. Make sure that y'all smash that like button. You got to own large long-term assets. When I'm talking about large long-term assets, I'm talking about real estate investments. I'm talking about tax deferred retirement accounts. If you checked out last night's show, I told you guys about the importance of investing into an account consistently over time. What you guys need to do is you need to start investing into tax deferred retirement accounts like your IRA, like your 401k, and you need to automate your finances so that money goes into these accounts every month. Don't leave it to yourself, guys. Okay. The wealthiest people in the world automate their finances. If you haven't yet checked out my free masterclass, you need to check that out because I went over that in great detail. The wealthiest people in the world, they have automated systems of income. They are not always manually transferring money from place to place. They know that every month as they work, they got a certain amount of money going into different investments while they sleep. You can do the exact same thing right now. A lot of you guys, you work at a job that has a 401k. You can set your 401k account to give an automatic contribution every month. Some of you guys haven't yet set up an IRA, an investment retirement account. You can set up that account to where every month there's a certain amount of money that goes into there automatically. Guys, statistically, the people that automate their money end up building more wealth over the long term than people that manually manage their money. This is the reason why I'm telling you to get automated. Don't just put your bills on auto pay. Put your savings on auto pay. Put your investments on auto pay. Put getting out of debt on auto pay. Okay. You got to be able to automate your investments. So even if you forget to do something, your assets are still growing by the minute. Now, let's talk about this next thing. Okay. The next thing that you need to create generational wealth is passive streams of income that can cover your bills. So, we talked a little bit earlier about real estate, and that's not the only asset that you can use to create generational wealth. But let's just stay right there for now. When I'm talking about creating passive streams of income to cover your bills, I'm talking about you having monthly cash flow generators in the form of income separate from the equity that you would get on an investment property. So, again, let's take, for example, my investment property here in Austin. I make a certain amount of money from the property every month in terms of my rent. And I also have a certain amount of assets flowing from this property in terms of my equity. Now, generational wealth is not just how much money I'm getting from this property in terms of equity. I don't want to touch the equity. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I can make enough money from this one investment to cover a large portion of my bills. I want to make sure that I make money from this property to be able to cover not only the mortgage of this property alone. I'll have my tenants pay this off for me. But on top of that, I also want to make sure that I have enough money coming from passive streams of income to cover things like food, transportation, utilities, cell phone bill. You want to make sure that you have passive streams of income covering your bills so that way you can hand that over to future generations and the nest egg doesn't need to be touched in order to make money. I'm going to say that again. You need to have passive streams of income coming in every month so that way they don't touch the nest egg money. I heard stories about a lot of people who took their parents' real estate property and sold it just to make money because they did not have enough money to cover their bills. What I'm saying is, if you are really going through some solid investing for creating generational wealth, you want to be able to make bill payment money separate from the money that goes towards building up equity. The nest egg money, this is money that you don't touch. This is money that just grows over time. You need to have another set of finances that just goes towards your day-to-day expenses. Passive income, that's your day-to-day expenses. Your nest egg, that's what's building up your net worth. Do y'all follow me? So if I have a property here, for example, and the property is worth $500,000, I don't want my future generations to pull from that $500,000, because I know that in a few years, this $500,000 can appreciate to $600,000. It can appreciate to $700,000. So I don't want them to pull out the 500, because that's going to stop the long-term growth from happening. What I'm telling y'all is let the 500,000 sit where it's at. Don't pull that out. Don't liquidate it. Instead, just take the rental money that comes from the $500,000 property and use that towards the day-to-day bills. Tell them, listen, they gotta still live life, y'all. They still gotta do something for themselves. Let's be clear. I want to make sure that I have assets to pass down to future generations, but I want to also teach them how to go and create income on their own, as though they're not getting anything. Because if all they did was just inherit the wealth that I've created, they're going to be spoiled brats. They're going to be entitled, and they're going to spend it all. So creating generational wealth is not about spoiling your kids, teaching them to be soft. It's about you building your legacy. They're still going to have to go out and work and hustle and maintain the family. But if they needed to pull money to cover day-to-day bills, it's not coming from the nest egg money. It's coming from the passive income. My sister, Akita Monet, so good to see you on. Thank you so much for the super chat, my sister. Thank you so much. Y'all give a big shout out. Thank you so much. Sister Akita is looking like the top sponsor for tonight's broadcast. Okay, y'all know whoever gets the highest donation for the sponsorship of the broadcast, they are the official sponsor of that broadcast. So right now, unless somebody tops this, Sister Akita Monet is leading the way as the official sponsor of the broadcast on how to create generational wealth. Now, let me look into some of these comments. Ian Jackson says, what would you define as an aggressive 401k at age 31? My goal is to get into rental properties and possibly own a used car lot. Excellent question. I'm going to give a link for y'all to cam up just in case y'all want to talk to me that way. If you want to ask me questions, guys, keep asking your questions about this, because I want to help you guys create generational wealth. Everybody on here that wants to create generational wealth, leave me a comment and just let me know your question that you have, so that way I can walk you through the process step by step. So, you know what, Ian, this question really depends upon your financial portfolio. What I mean by that is, let's say that you're still loaded in debt. Let's say that you got $100,000 in debt. Well, I would say that you are being aggressive in your 401k if you are investing anything beyond the company match. Okay, you would be aggressively investing from my perspective, because the money that you are putting in there is more than you should, because that should go towards paying off that $100,000 in debt. Like I was saying before, right? The faster you can get out of debt, the longer you have to create wealth over time. So I would say that if you have, let's say that you're out of debt, and now all you're doing is building your wealth, you need to max out your 401k. If you are anywhere beyond 10% on your 401k, I think that that would be objectively, being aggressive with the investment. But what I'm trying to convey is that it really is relative to exactly where you are now. If you are out of debt and you already have emergency savings, then I would highly encourage you to maximize that 401k investment. Okay. You said that your goal is to get into rental properties and possibly own a used car lot. Yes. If you are out of debt, then what I would do if I was in your shoes is I would still max out my 401k, because that is tax deferred money. Okay. I can make more money through my 401k than I can through other investments because of the tax benefits that I'm going to get from it. So when I was in your shoes, I was maxing out my 401k, and I had a separate checking account. I had a money market checking account set aside for a down payment on an investment property. Okay. But again, like I said, it really all is relative to exactly where you are financially in terms of where your debts are looking, where you are on savings, how much money you're putting in thus far, and then kind of going from there. Also, Marcus Johnson said investing in silver and gold is also a long-term stored value of future generational wealth. Absolutely. And this is one of the things about it as well. You guys got to really figure out what your investment portfolio is going to look like. For me and my investment portfolio, I've got a lot of money invested into real estate, but I've also got money in business, I've got money in crypto, and I've got money in stocks. Okay. So don't just copy what I'm doing, figure out what works best for you. In my experience as an investor, I find that real estate works well for me when it comes to creating generational wealth from a equity and building net worth perspective. But I also find that it is really, really, really important to invest in those tax deferred retirement accounts. Guys, a lot of y'all are underestimating how much money you would be making through these accounts. I started putting money into these accounts when I was like 21 years old, and I'm talking about this a couple $50 a month. And you would be surprised what that has turned into 10 plus years later, all because of compound interest. I saw you on here, Yasha Allah. I'm ready to cam up with you, my man. For any of y'all that want to cam up, make sure that you tap the link. Okay, please make sure that you smash that like button. And most importantly, y'all, please make sure that y'all donate. I want to give a quick shout out to Sister Akita Monet as well as Yasha Allah again for donating. For the rest of y'all, please show your boy some love. Even if you're watching this broadcast and the broadcast is over, you can still donate through Cash App or PayPal. The links are in the description below. Okay. So now when we talk about this next step, okay, we're still going through the steps on how to create generational wealth. You need to make sure that you set up life insurance policies for everyone in your family. Do not overlook this. You remember when I told you at the beginning of this broadcast, everybody can create generational wealth? Everybody can create generational wealth as long as they set up life insurance. Now, guys, I would rather that you have multiple assets to pass down to future generations, not just life insurance alone, but please make sure that you set up your life insurance policy for you and everyone else in your household. At a minimum, your life insurance policy should be 10 times your income. So, for example, if you make $100,000 a year, your life insurance policy should be $1 million. If you make $50,000 a year, your life insurance policy should be $500,000. The idea is that you are leaving behind enough money so that you can leave your family 10 years worth of income to sustain. Okay. If you make $100,000 a year, you're leaving behind 10 years worth of income when you leave them that $1 million. Right. And so, one of the things that I always talk to you guys about on this broadcast about how easy it is to do to sustain this kind of life insurance policy when you get a term insurance. Okay. If you get a term life insurance policy for the cost of like $35 a month, you could be having hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance for your kids. And listen, y'all could do that if you're making $40,000 a year. Y'all mean to tell me y'all can't afford $30 to $35 a month to protect your kids with $500,000 if you pass away? Come on. I'm going to keep it a buck right now. The only people that wouldn't do something like that is just people that's not caring about their money at all. Anybody can afford that. You know the reason why I say anybody can afford that? Because look at where you spend your money regardless of how much money you make. I know people that even if you don't make a lot of money, you still go out and buy junk. You still go out and buy clothes. You still go out and buy cars that you don't even use, put rims on them. Hell, a lot of y'all, the money that a lot of y'all get in a tax return, you could just put that towards, a yearly payment of life insurance, and that would make sure that your kids are taken care of after you're gone. Every last one of us can leave generational wealth behind as long as we make an investment. Now, again, like I said, for some of you guys, if you make $50,000 a year, you could leave behind 500,000, and that's just off the insurance alone. And if you own some real estate, well, you might be able to leave behind 700,000, 800,000. And a great thing about this generational wealth, whenever you have this created in multiple places, is that these different assets provides different features. It gives different value. So what I mean is, if I were to leave behind generational wealth for my family, I can leave behind real estate that you can live in. I can leave behind um, insurance money that you can spend, save, or invest. I can leave behind a business that you can continue to make more money off of. Listen, y'all, I know people right now in my industry who they've been dead and gone for like the past 20, 30 years. And all their family does is package a lot of their previous materials and goes out and still keeps selling it over and over again. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. People still buy that book. Napoleon Hill been gone. Jim Rohn, people still buy his audio tapes. Jim Rohn, been gone. So when you create certain business assets, not only do you have a way of producing new income like Michael Jackson did, like Kobe Bryant did, people still making money as they're gone, but you can also have a way of creating positive impact in the world. When I do these shows, this is a form of my generational wealth, because my prayer is that this can help to change somebody's life, even if I wasn't around anymore. I pray that these lessons can outlive me, so that way, even if I'm dead and gone, the Lord is still using me to change lives. And you can do the exact same thing. My brother Yasha Allah, I see that you're on. What's going on, my man? There's a bit of a delay, Yasha Allah. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay, whenever the delay is done, make sure that you give me a thumbs up, Yasha Allah, so that way I could bring you back in on the broadcast. Maybe there's a delay because of how you're watching it, but whenever you're good to go, give me a thumbs up and let me know. Okay. So now when we talk about, let's keep getting through the rest of these steps, and then I'm gonna try you back on again, Yasha Allah. For those of y'all that are joining, please smash that thumbs up button. Tonight we're talking about how to create generational wealth. Okay, so we left off where we were talking about setting up life insurance policies for everyone in your household. Okay, so just in case anything happened to anyone, you are still able to create wealth in their absence. Also, you want to establish a trust where you can control where the money is going to go after your exit. Okay. I know that a lot of y'all have heard about having a trust before. A lot of y'all have heard about trust fund babies. One of the best ways that you can make sure that your money is protected from one generation to the next is to establish a trust where you outline all of the details on how somebody can use this money under certain conditions. So, prime example, some of y'all have watched the show Power. Y'all saw that after Ghost died, Tariq could only take out Ghost's money if he made a certain GPA in going to college. That's the benefits that you get from a trust. I've seen a lot of people leave behind some money for their family, but because their kids was a knucklehead, they spent all of the money within a year's time on stupid stuff. So to make sure that your money actually goes where you want it to go in the right place, when you establish your trust, you can have a power of attorney give rights and instructions on how your family is supposed to use that money step by step. That'll make sure that nobody in the family sabotages your money in the way in which you wouldn't want it to go. Okay. And I think that is very important that all of us look into this before we're gone. Look into a trust. Look into if you pass away, who's going to be the one to manage your estate? These are things that you guys got to know while you're here. Seventh thing, and I'm going to just talk about this in passing. I'll do another show on this, or I'll save it for the Patreon. Set up a family bank. The reason why generational wealth passes down from one person to the next is because some of the wealthiest people have their own private banks established within their families where the money is always being recycled. So, for example, rather than, let's say that you want to get a house, right? You're a part of my family. Rather than you going to Chase Bank and asking Chase for a $300,000 loan, instead, I want you to come to the family bank. Since we're family, I already got the $300,000 for you. You'll take out a loan. I won't charge you the same amount of interest like the bank will charge you. But because of the fact that I'm loaning you the money through the family bank, the family gets to recycle that money rather than the corporations. I want y'all to understand, banks get wealthy from you. The money that you put into their banks, the money that you put towards mortgages, car notes, all of those things. If you had your own family bank established, rather than making everyone else rich because they take your money and they loan it out to other people and make money off of it, you're going to make money off of your own money because all of the family is going to put their money in one place. They're going to pool their resources together, and that family bank will make sure that the entire generational wealth is covered and protected from there. If your kid wants to go to college, they can take out a student loan through the family bank if necessary, or you could just give it to them as a scholarship off top. If you got a kid that wants to buy a house, you can either give them a mortgage through the family bank or you can give them the money off top. But in order to do that, you need a family bank. Okay, not just relying on Bank of America or all these other companies that are making money off of you, but you being your own source. Okay, but that's the next level talk. I'm just showing you guys all of the steps. If y'all follow all the steps that I've given you thus far, you will be able to set aside a substantial portion of generational wealth. You will be able to leave behind more than what was left to you, even if you just follow the steps that I've given you thus far. Number 8, educate your kids on personal finance. Okay. I don't want you guys to work yourself into the ground only to leave it to the next generation that knows absolutely nothing about what to do with it. Take the time now. Educate your kids on personal finance. Make sure that they know the difference between a checking account and a savings account. Make sure that they know the difference between a non-retirement brokerage account and an investment retirement account. Make sure that they know the difference between a stock and a cryptocurrency. Make sure that they know the difference between an individual stock and an ETF. Make sure that they know how to run your business. Give them different jobs and responsibilities within the business. So that way, once you're gone, they already know how the entire company works. Okay. You're grooming them to take on what you've created. But if all you do is just make money and then pass it down with no education, that money will be gone within a few years, regardless of how much money you make. There's been all kinds of celebrities and multimillionaires whose kids just never cared about money and they just blew it all down the drain. So you need to make sure that you create generational wealth by having that trust and making the money, but also making sure that you pass down the money to family members who know what to do with it. I'm going to say that again. Pass down the money to family members who know what to do with it. A lot of people make the mistake of passing down money to those who are most needy. You need to pass down the money to someone who knows how to multiply that money the best. Because if you have a multiplier in the family, then you can always take a portion of the money to help somebody that's in need. But if you give the bulk of your money to somebody that's in need, they're not a producer. They're a consumer. So all of that money will be gone within one generation. These are all things that y'all need to get down. Okay. Last but not least, y'all, make sure that you create a cabinet that outlines a full handover of how to control your empire. You need to write out a document, okay, showing your family, your surviving spouse, as well as your kids, how to be able to do all of what you do to manage and maintain the wealth that you've created. So, for example, if I were to do this, I would have a one-page document that tells my family where to go in order to access all of the bills. On this document, I would show them the amounts of what is in the checking account, what is in the savings account, what's in the 401k, what's in the IRA, what's in the crypto account, what's in our equity account. I would show them the balance in every single account, because if I don't outline that, they may not even know that money is there. Okay. So you need to have a cabinet where you put in all of your important information: insurance paperwork, passport, social security card. But most importantly, it needs to walk your family through a step-by-step process on exactly how to manage and control your assets for future generations. Okay. Make sure that you already have a conversation with somebody before you're gone. Hey, if anything happens to me, go to this cabinet, just follow the instructions. Walk through it with them before they're gone, just in case they have any questions. Don't wait until you're gone and then they look at the document and they can't make sense of it. Okay. Start running through this no different than how you would go through a fire drill. Practice it and make sure that your family knows how to do what you do. And in time, that's when you will have created generational wealth. Okay. So, guys, did y'all enjoy tonight's broadcast? Did y'all get a lot of value from this? How many of you believe that if you follow the steps as I gave it to you, you can create generational wealth for future generations? Let's go through the steps one more time. Number one, Right now, you're going to maximize the amount of money that you make from your 9 to 5 job just so you can take a proceed of that money and put it into your other streams of income. Number two, you're going to get out of debt ASAP because you don't want massive debt to swallow all of your wealth. Instead, you want to get out of debt as quickly as possible so that way you can spend the rest of your life building wealth and giving back. Next, you want to own large long-term assets. This includes things like real estate as well as tax deferred retirement accounts. You want to automate your finances so that your money goes towards your investment accounts every single month on autopilot. You don't even have to think about it, the money goes there. Next, you want to create passive streams of income to cover the bills. You don't want your family to pull money out of the equity or the long-term nest egg accounts that you saved up. That money just needs to sit there and appreciate over time. Instead, you're going to leave behind also monthly passive income generators where that will make enough money to cover their bills. Next, you want to set up life insurance policies for everyone in your household. You want to make your life insurance policy at least 10 times the amount of money that you make in 1 year. So even if you only make $30,000 this year, you are still leaving behind $300,000 in life insurance. That's $300,000 that can go towards a college fund. That's $300,000 that could go towards buying a house. That's $300,000 that could go towards making someone in your family debt free. $300,000 is life changing money, and you can do that off of a $30,000 income. Number six, establish a trust. That way, when you pass away, the money just doesn't go anywhere. It goes exactly where you want it to go. You will write out written instructions on my son can only pull this money out if the money is going towards college, the money is going towards an investment, the money is going towards whatever it is of your choosing. That will protect you to make sure that your money doesn't all get spent in the wrong place. Number seven, in time, set up a family bank. Instead of you making your loved ones go to, Bank of America to go and get a loan, why don't you be the plug? Why don't you set up a family bank where everyone within the immediate family puts into the pot every month? So that way, if someone in the family needs a loan or needs to do certain things, you can use the bank and you can pour money back into the bank rather than giving it out to everyone else. Okay, this is how we can recycle our dollars and pull it together. Number eight, you want to educate your kids on the importance of personal finance. You want to make sure that they know how to use money effectively once you've handed it down. Last but not least, number nine, you want to make sure that you have a cabinet in your house that has a document on how your family can fully manage your assets after you're gone. It needs to list off, okay, how much is in your checking account, how much is in your savings account, how do they log in to get access to be able to pull out the money. These are all things that you gotta be able to have. You want to be able to make it as effortless as possible for your legacy to continue after you're gone. And if y'all love tonight's broadcast, I got a special gift to help you create generational wealth. I'm giving you 2 free stocks. Okay. So get your 2 free stocks right here. Okay. All you got to do is click the link in the comments below. As y'all know, this is sponsored by Webull. Okay. The Uzziah Show is sponsored by Webull, one of the fastest growing financial brokerage companies in the world. On Webull, you can invest in stocks as well as cryptocurrency. Okay. You can do everything that you need to do right from this one platform alone. Okay. So, If you guys enjoyed tonight's broadcast, please make sure that you donate, y'all. All right. This is what keeps the show going. If there's no donations, there's no show. And I want to give a big shout out once again to the sponsors of the broadcast. Want to give a shout out to my brother Yasha Allah. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Also want to give a big shout out to one of the top sponsors, the official sponsor of tonight's broadcast, Akita Monet. Thank you so much for being the official sponsor of How to Create Generational Wealth. It's not too late to donate, y'all. All right. All you got to do is tap the dollar icon directly below the live chat box, or you could make a donation through Cash App or PayPal. I would love to have y'all as sponsors, y'all. That helps to keep the show going. It goes a long way towards this thing rolling, y'all. All right. I do these shows 7 days a week. If you want to know more about how to be able to work with me, make sure that you get my free book. Okay, the How to Succeed Survival Guide. Okay, this book will show you how I paid off over $95,000 in student loans 2 years after graduating from Baylor University. It shows you how I made the successful transition from my 9-to-5 job in corporate America to being a full-time real estate investor, entrepreneur, and best-selling author. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys this link so that way you can get your free book. All you need to do is tell me where to send it, and it is on the way. And guys, that does it for tonight's broadcast. So I will see y'all on for tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If there's certain things that you guys want me to talk about on future shows, just leave me a comment below. Let me know. If you want to book a session, if you want to book a session and work with me one-on-one, please make sure that you do so. I'm gonna give y'all a link. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a link right here to book a session. These slots are running out, guys. Okay, if you haven't booked your session yet, make sure that you do so because these slots are running out. There's only a few slots that I have in the month of November for you guys to work with me one-on-one for a 1-hour session. So make sure that you tap there to book your session with me one-on-one. For the rest of you guys, I'll catch you on the show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. Until next time, keep pushing.